If you've been a longtime fan of the Amazing World of Gumball, you know the show's filled with quirky side characters, from hallway extras to bizarre one-off villains. But some of them didn't just fade into the background, they vanished. In today's video, we're diving into one of Elmore's strangest mysteries. What happened to Gumball's forgotten characters? Starting with Erased by the Void. In canon, this only really happened to background extras, and even then, they usually came back. For example, Rob, the skinny kid with the triangular head, was originally just a background character in early seasons, but he actually escaped from the void. After Gumball and Darwin accidentally pass by him trapped in the void, Rob shows up in season 5 disfigured and bitter. In his own words, Rob admits he felt like a nobody after being forgotten, so he agreed to become Gumball's nemesis. That turned Rob into a full-blown villain by seasons 5 to 6. The weird part? He vanished again. After the series finale, The Inquisition, Rob is never seen again, even though the episode ended on an epic cliffhanger. We're left wondering if Rob was really gone or just off-screen. But at least we have his backstory. He literally came back from the void and then disappeared again as a villain. So he kind of bookends our void theme. Another example of the void's reach is Molly Collins. She was an episode's focus as the only kid, besides the Wattersons, wearing a tin-foil hat to resist the void. For one episode, she was erased from all photos and memories. Then Gumball and crew rescued her, and she reappeared, leaving only strange clues behind. So Molly's fate was resolved. But there's one void case with no such closure. Tobias's older sister, Rachel Wilson. Rachel appears only in season 1's The Party, as Tobias's cool teenage sister. She's notably not seen after that episode. In 2016, a Darwin's yearbook short confirms Tobias brushing off a text about her. Darwin asks, "What happened to your sister Rachel?" And Tobias just texts back, "Gone to college, obviously." A casual answer, right? But fans notice that Gumball and Darwin are still around age 12. So if Rachel was their age, or just slightly older, college makes no sense. It reeks of a cover-up. And indeed, the Gumball wiki notes this fan theory. Maybe Rachel got sent to the void due to irrelevance, just like Rob. Even the wiki hedges that this theory is only partially debunked by the fact we never actually saw Rachel in the void. Bottom line, after The Party, Rachel Wilson vanished off-screen. Officially, she's off at school, but fans suspect something more sinister, like the void swallowing her up as a forgotten character. Now let's look at characters who phased out quietly. No magic dimension or explosion, they just stopped being shown. One clear case is Albert, the mysterious babysitter from season 1's The Responsible. Remember that odd scene where Richard buys a random internet guy to babysit the kids? Albert comes to the door, flatly announcing, "Hi, I'm here to sit on the baby." Nicole is confused and asks, "What?" Albert looks exasperated. "Well, duh, I'm the babysitter." And Nicole slams the door on him. It's such a bizarre, canned quip. And then Albert is never seen again. The show never explains who he was, why he acted so creepy, or what happened after he left. Fans can only wonder if he ended up in jail or maybe changed his name. But in Gumball's world, he simply fades to black after that one exchange. That's a pretty definitive disappearance. One freaky introduction line, and Albert vanishes without a trace. Another quiet dropout. Sussie's parents, the Chinnikin couple we met in The Pony, season 2, and The Love, season 4. In The Pony, Sussie's dad, voiced by showrunner Mike Graves, offers Gumball and Darwin $1,000 to stay at Sussie's party. In The Love, we see them acting super romantically weird with each other. Those episodes give them a few funny moments and great comedy, since real-life Mike Graves was playing the part. After that, though, they quietly disappear. They never show up in later seasons or even in the Gumball movie. Technically, the Gumball wiki confirms they only had those 2 appearances and no story beyond that. Behind the scenes, we know Sussie's dad was played by the creator and Sussie's mom by a guest actress. It's safe to say the show's end meant there was no reason to recast or keep using them. In story, nobody ever says, "We lost touch," or "they moved away." They simply are not there in season 5 or 6. As far as the show's concerned, they're gone, hanging up their dancing shoes forever. What about other school kids who popped up and never came back? Well, besides those new classmates in the Others episode, more on them later, a lot of Gumball's oddball peers only got a cameo or 2. For example, the school bully, Uncle Phil, Tina's foil balloon uncle, appears to his doom in season 4's The Traitor. Gumball and Darwin overpower Tina and bury Phil in balloons. Then, in The Foss, Miss Simeon visits a family home with balloons, and we only hear Mrs. Rex mention our foil balloon, clearly referencing Phil's accident. We never see Uncle Phil again, presumably he was popped and recycled. The show never circles back to that storyline, so Tina's uncle is effectively forgotten. Similarly, Chi-Chi and Ribbit, Gumball, and Darwin's chipmunk alien clones from the Copycats, and Chi-Chi's human family show up in just one episode. It was a cute one-child policy joke, but after the resolution, nobody says we should visit their galaxy. They just vanish when credits roll. The writers didn't need them beyond that gag. Speaking of clones and duplicates, consider Anna's doppelganger, Chi-Chi and her brother Ribbit in The Copycats. Gumball jokes that Sussie's parents must have had one child because her parents are so weird, hinting Chi-Chi's mom had a life of her own. But Anna's mom or Chi-Chi's parents never appear, and in the others, Gumball and Darwin help Claire Cooper and her dad. A lot of new faces show up in that episode: Jared, Wilson, Mr. Cornell, even Rainbow Octopus and others. But apart from Claire and Jared, who get help and presumably continue on happily, we barely hear from the rest. In fact, after the others, characters like Rainbow Octopus, Gregor, Bulldog, and Mole are never given any story. They just linger in the halls. As one video essay notes, that leaves us with 4 more, all new classmates. We don't learn much about them. Gumball's story always focused on the title character, so these new classmates are just backgrounds now. For all intents and purposes, they exist only to fill Elmore Junior High. If the show continued, maybe we'd learn more, but as it stands, they quietly hang around off camera. Finally, let's talk about behind-the-scenes reasons a few characters disappeared. One big example is Rachel Wilson again. On paper, she was Tobias' sister, but in practice, she was only in one episode. The Gumball Wiki mentions a tweet by creator Ben Bockley implying they weren't fond of how Rachel turned out. One fan-made transcript suggests Bockley joked that writing a convincing teen girl was harder than a baby. Whatever the real story, the result is Rachel simply never got a second episode. And the show moved on to newer plots and new characters like Alan and Sussy. In short, she was quietly written off. Similarly, the job of Gumball's babysitter was reassigned from Weird Albert in episode 11, S1, to Gumball and Darwin themselves in episode 12. So Albert's role was cut out, never to return. And Sussy's parents, they were last seen when Mick Graves was still showrunning. By season 5, with different producers and the gang off to the movie, nobody bothered to bring them back. We don't have a recorded quote or official statement on every case, but often the simplest explanation is the writers just had no more use for that character, so they faded away.